Alright, so we're taking a look at another one from my childhood. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Klein. So, this was big in my younger years, I would say. I had toys. I had two Kevin Costners, a Morgan Freeman, and a Alan Rickman. That is to say, I had two Robin Hoods, an Azim, and a Sheriff of Nottingham. And to this day, I wish I would have kept, because the ones I had the longest were the Azim and Sheriff of Nottingham action figures. I would use them for other things. I think at one point I pretended the Sheriff of Nottingham was Xanatos from Gargoyles until I got the actual Xanatos. But, yeah. But I had those for the longest time. The Robin Hood ones I lost. But I guess Kevin Costner wasn't. I knew who Kevin Costner was back in the day, by the way. But yes, so this is... The story is that the Lord of Locksley is murdered by, of course, Prince John. Or not Prince John. The Sheriff of Nottingham. There's no Prince John in this version. Sheriff of Nottingham. Responsible for it. King Richard has left. And that's also a story in the animated version from Disney too, is Prince Richard has left. King Richard the Lionhearted. And in that version he actually was a lion. In this version, well, we'll get to that. And so Robin of Locksley, Lord Locksley's son, and his friend have been locked up, and they stage an escape. And his friend Peter dies. And he takes with him Azim, who assisted him. And they come across a man named Duncan, who had his eyes taken out by the Sheriff of Nottingham. And the three of them eventually find their way into the woods, where they meet John Little, or Little John, and the Merry Men, led by Will Scarlet, played by Christian Slater. And we find out later that Will Scarlet is actually Robin's half-brother. Robin's father, after Robin's mother's death, fell in love with a peasant woman. And Will was what came of that. But then his responsibilities led him to leave the mother behind, and Will as well. And this all comes really quick. It's like, I have a brother. Now, Kevin Costner was told not to do a British accent. He does sort of kind of do a partial British accent in this, here and there. It's terrible. But I think he does a pretty good job with this role. I think. Morgan Freeman is also fantastic. When I was a kid, I always wondered, he's Robin Hood. Why did you keep calling him Christian? Well, as an adult, I now know that he's calling him by his choice of faith. Christian. I get that now. Alan Rickman as the evil Sheriff of Nottingham is also fantastic. But you know what really scared the shit out of me when I was a kid? That evil witch that we find out later is the Sheriff of Nottingham's mother. She scared the living shit out of me growing up. Her face is just so gruesome and ugly, and no. She doesn't scare me as much now, but I used to have nightmares because of her. But now I just go, eee, And then there's Maid Marian, played by Mary Stuart Master Antonio. Robin Wright was originally casted, but she had to back out because she ended up getting pregnant. And that would have been kind of funny. And I think I would have preferred that, because that would be very ironic. So she played a princess in The Princess Bride, which co-starred Carrie Elwes. Carrie Elwes played Robin Hood in Robin Hood Men in Tights. There's a connection there, I'm just saying. So we meet all these characters. Will Scarlet, Little John, he has a wife. She ends up having a baby. And of course there's Friar Tuck, who's played by Michael McShane. And I always thought it was weird that they had a comedian play the role of Friar Tuck, who's supposed to be a devout, he's a friar. But it works. I think a lot of what works with this is that the tone is very dark. Like the very beginning, it's just two people getting killed. And this movie is not rated. Bonus material, not rated. What's the actual rating then? There's the actual rating. It's just, this extended version contains material different from the PG-13 rated version. So it's just like an unrated version, I'm guessing. But the PG-13 version had that stuff at the beginning. And there's really not much. There's some killings here or there. I didn't even realize this was an extended version, I guess. Bought this from Target way a few years back. Because the thing is, this is a long-ass movie the way it was. And if you bought the regular DVD version, it was 2 parts. Kind of like Stephen King's It. How you get one side and then you gotta flip it over, do the other side. So yeah, but yes, and this right here, where he's doing this, that's the original cover art for the VHS and the DVD, that part. But I like this whole little, portrait we got going on here. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the music. The score by Michael Kamen is fantastic. And I like how he I don't know if he took it from Bryan Adams or Bryan Adams took it from him, but it intertwines that into it. And it works. I will say that they say on the back of this, it's a music video. And this one says, Bryan Adams live at Ireland's Shane Castle, performing Everything I Do. But on the Blu-ray itself, it just says music video. I've seen the music video where he's in the woods and he's singing the song and you see clips from the movie. I love that music video. So I was expecting that. So I watched the music video and it's him performing an acoustic version in front of a live audience. Which, what's the difference between acoustic? There's no drums, there's no, no, it's just him playing a guitar. It's a fine performance, but I really like the music video. So after this is done, I'm probably going to watch the music video when you get them. But, yeah, there's one thing I laughed at, though. So, during the third act, when he goes to rescue Maid Marian, there is a shot where he shows up in the courthouse, and you get that fire behind him and everything. The courtyard, and you get that fire from behind him. That shot there where the fire comes up and everything, and you hear Sheriff, not even go, Loxley! And then Maid Marian just yells out, Robin! And I went, oh God, did she not have a better delivery than that? But yeah, they come to save the day, and they think Will's a traitor, but he got lashed, and so he's not really a traitor, even though he sort of kind of was, and that's when he finds out he's his brother, and they fight together, and there are some casualties on both sides, including the sheriff Nottingham. My favorite part, though, is Friar Tuck, Michael McShane. Friar Tuck, there is this another friar or a priest or whatever who marries Sheriff and Maid Marian. And so because of this, Friar Tuck believes he has betrayed his faith. So he's loading him up with all this stuff. He goes, here's your money, your gold, and here's a piece of silver to pay the devil when you get to hell. And pushes him off the window. Put him out the window. He died outside the window. I thought that was fantastic. And you have, you know, Robin comes in, saves the day, stabs Sheriff of Nottingham. The evil witch, I think she dies in some way, somehow. I don't really care. She's scary anyway. And yeah, and then we get, they're together. They get married, and they're just about to get married. Friar Tuck's about to say, "I now pronounce you," and then you hear, "Stop! I cannot allow the shredding to continue." And it's Sean Connery, and he's King Richard, and he goes, "Not without my blessing." And then he "It's good to see you, cousin." And I'm like, cousin. Sean Connery was about 60 years old here. And Maid Marian, I'm guessing, was in her 30s. Second cousins? I'm guessing. I'm thinking maybe in the script he was supposed to be younger, but once they realized, hey, we got Sean Connery to play this role, and he's uncredited, we can shock the hell out of people because he's not in the credits, and he can just, we can shock people. Sean Connery. But without even thinking that it's not going to make any sense. But it was really cool to see Sean Connery, and then, shakes Robin's hand and gives permission, and then they get married, and they kiss and ends, and then we get the song and end credits. Which at first it doesn't sound like it's going to. It starts playing the score, and then it transitions into that. Overall, I enjoyed watching this. It's a long-ass watch, but it brings back childhood memories of watching this with my grandparents. It was one of the few movies I watched with them. This, Child's Play, Problem Child, Batman. It's really just... I'm going to do a top 10 list before birth month is over. Top 10 childhood favorites. Movies that I grew up watching all the time. This is most likely going to be on that list, because it is one of those. I'm not guaranteeing it'll be high up. It'll probably be on a lower tier, but I'm still trying to figure out which ones are going to go on the list, how I'm going to number it. I know at least my top 5, I think, because that could always change. When I do a list, I said, okay, this is going to be on top 5, and then when I start putting together, this, and this, and this, oh no, wait a minute, move this, things might not even be the way I thought they were going to be going in. But I'm planning on at least ending this month with that top 10. I haven't done any top 10s. And I do want to do some top 10s. I still need to react to an episode of Ren and Stimpy if I ever get to that. Hopefully I do this month. Who knows? But this was a fantastic watch. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, for me, it's an 8 out of 10. It's fantastic. I don't really see any problems with it, but I cannot give it a perfect score because I just don't have a huge connection to it. But 8 out of 10 is fine. It's one of Kevin Costner's better movies. Some would argue his best movie was either JFK or Dances with Wolves. He didn't have many big blockbusters, Kevin Costner. He had maybe even and I will always love you. Probably The Bodyguard. That's probably the one that is most regarded. It's most highly regarded. It's probably The Bodyguard. Then there's Dancing with Wolves and JFK. There's this. There's Waterworld, which is probably his worst performance. I grew up liking Kevin Costner. I think he's a pretty good actor. I liked him in Man of Steel. I thought he was pretty good. Acting-wise, character-wise, stupid decision. But other than that, 8 out of 10. So what are your thoughts on Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty. See you in the next one.